Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be going over Gara. Gara has a little bit of a special place in my heart. I've been using her basically since she came out. And like the little bit of a story time slash history lesson here. Shortly after Gara was released, this was during the Plains update. And then a little bit like after that, may have been like a 2 days maybe, she was nerfed. And everyone, I mean damn near everyone, said that this Warframe was dead because of her nerf. And the thing that they nerfed was the amount of health that her 4 gets. That was it. It wasn't the infinite stacking damage on the 2. It wasn't her being invincible during the 4's cast time. It wasn't the 4 refreshing the 2 or anything like that. It was just the amount of health that the 4 gave. Everyone said she was dead. I kept using her. And then, about a year later when people redid their videos or revisited Gara and whatnot, they realized, oh, she's kind of nuts. And I still think she is nuts. Maybe not like S tier nuts. I think she's probably in like a nice solid like A. But yeah, I love using Gara every now and again just because I just really enjoy the Warframe herself. So yeah, little story time over. We're going to get into the build real quick. I doubt you guys want to hear old man stories all the time. So, because Gara is like a fairly early frame, again, you get her in the Plains. I am going to be going over like a new player-ish build for her once I get through the Archon shards here. So, for the Archon shards, these are all mostly to taste, especially just like the crit damage shard here. Fun fact, while I was testing and doing everything, I had 4 crit damage shards, and none really of these. I had a casting speed, but these were all crit damage. All 4 of these were crit damage. That changed. Little Mama uses more energy than what I thought she would, so I needed some sort of equilibrium effect. That is where these come in. If you can if you can get equilibrium on the build on like your version of the build, by all means these are not needed. But as far as like the higher end versions of like what I have and what I run, these are kind of needed. Again, that's if you follow my build to like an absolute T. If you don't and you can like mess around and throw equilibrium in or whatnot, or you can throw in like an energy nexus somewhere, I think you'll be fine. These two, I would say, are like, they're not mandatory, of course, but man, it makes everything just kind of come together. Just the casting speed, the changes to the 1, starting with like decent energy, which this used to be a second melee crit damage thing, but I had to take it off just so I could have like energy in the beginning of missions to just cast things and get things going. So yeah, don't be afraid to like reduce your damage by a little bit, because we're already doing millions. Like, we're doing millions and millions and millions. Reducing your damage by a little bit just so that you can get your engine and get everything going isn't the biggest deal, trust me. And then, well, while I'm here, for the newer players, I'm not going to go over her abilities just really, really quick here. When I actually talk about the builds, I'll go into them a little bit more in depth, but just a little quick little thing here. Her passive, if like light hits her, again, because she's glass, she's made of glass basically, it'll like refract and then she'll blind enemies. It happens every once in a while. It is funny when it happens because the enemies just go, ah, no, my eyes. So yeah, kind of funny when it happens, but nothing too crazy. Shattered Lash, this is her 1. This had a big changeover in the past year. This is now infinitely better. The damage for this is bonkers. Her 1 is now basically how she does. Well, she can do damage with her 4 too, but I'll talk about that build later. But yeah, her her Shattered Lash is pretty nutty. Splinter Storm. So this is her second ability. This is where she gets her 90% damage reduction, and then you can see down here that I'm only at like 130 strength, and this is already at, whoop, not that ability. This is already at 90% DR. So if you're a newer player and you have Gara, you are in good standing. Oh, this is another pretty damn good frame to have like pretty early on. But her Splinter Storm is what like stacks her damage from her 4. So just real quick with that, what you want to do is cast the 2, cast the 4, cast the 1, and then the 2 refreshes the 2. The 4 refreshes the 2, so you'll get another. It says down there 28 seconds, so you'll get another 28 seconds from casting the 4 here. And Spectral Rage is an interesting ability. It's mainly just used for like the augment to get energy. Once you get to like the helmet and like you get all of like those warframes in and whatnot, and you get like other abilities to subsume over other warframes, her 3 is, I would say, 9 times out of probably 10 times out of 10 what people remove from Gara. Back in the day, for like another history lesson, I guess. Back in the day, when we first got the helmet and people fed like their Garas into it and whatnot, people were using Spectral Rage on other warframes for its augment to just generate a lot of energy. So if you're newer and you don't quite have like energy, or you're struggling with that, you can use the augment for this and get energy. That is behind syndicates though, so don't feel bad if you can't quite get that. It can be a little tricky when you're a newer player to get that high with syndicates. But when you get a little bit later in the game, this just gets replaced with something a little bit better. And I'm going to go over the 4 with... The 4 I'm going to go over more of the build, but for newer players, just know that when you cast it, you're invincible. It absorbs the health from enemies that that it bypasses, so you can see it like going past enemies. It takes their health basically, and then makes the wall stronger, like that. It goes through the enemies just like that, and then the wall takes their health basically. So that's basically how that works, and then you break it, and then that gives more damage to the Splinter Storm. And then going over just a newer player build here. I'm just throwing together like some things. Just really quick. By the time I think you could like farm up a Gara, I think you would have like most of these. You know, I'm pretty sure Equilibrium is just given to you along with the Dreamer's Bond here. Continuity, Streamline, Intensify, the health for health, Flow for energy, this for energy. All just works pretty well. I'm going to keep saying this every time I have a newer player thing or segment in these. These mods, specifically like these high cost ones, these do not have to be maxed. They can be level, they can be like a rank 8. So you can see with me, I can max this, but you can see like that cost, that Indo triples. You know how much you can do with 10,000 Indo as a newer player? That's so much. And I get you see that I have a lot, but I've been playing the game for damn near 10 years, so ignore that. But that's why, like, there's the saying of, like, when you're newer, don't max out these big mods. Like, these lower mods down here, sure, like, that's fine. But the big mods, like Vitality, like Equilibrium here, later on you'll get the Umbra mods, and then these are real. Look at this, these get real expensive. This is like prime mod territory. You're a new player, you're not hit this, you're likely barely hitting this. If you just get to something like this at like a rank 6 for these, I think that's fine. Actually, I think they start off maybe like here or something. I forget what the default for these are, but you get my point about like the cost of Indo just keeps going. So being a newer player, Indo is very important. Just don't use your Indo on like one thing. Spread out your Indo and level up a bunch of things. That way you can play and test with other Warframes. Because if you dump all of your things into one frame and you end up not liking that frame, needless to say, you're probably not going to have a good time. So there's some unsolicited sage advice for newer players if you're watching. So now I'm going to get into like the higher end builds for Gara herself. I'm going to start with like the nuking build for like her 4 because I didn't really talk about this. So with the range that I have as close to max range as I can because of like the mods that I have and whatnot. Well, I just still like PSF, so I doubt I would remove this anyways, just because I just kind of like it here. But like 40 meters on this is pretty solid, and then the roar will increase that damage as well. The Arcane Fury here will also increase, I believe, the damage of the Mass Vitrify as well. But the Mass Vitrify can't crit, so you're going to have to like land crits in some other ways, because this just says on critical hit. Doesn't specify really what has to critically hit. So long as you crit with something, this will proc. So please bear that in mind, and then I'll also talk about that with like the companion here in a little later. But to go over this, there's not really help. There's a little bit of survivability here with like the adaptation and whatnot. That's just like a me thing, because I do go into like Steel Path sometimes and use this. But if you wanted to just forego this and like throw in something like Energy Nexus, or if you wanted to do something like Streamline or something like that, just throw in here what you wanted to, that's perfectly fine. The corrosive projection here is just to reduce armor so that this your 4 will just do more damage, of course. And then Molt Augmented will just stack up a bunch of strength, because you're gonna get 250 kills pretty quickly with this if you're just, especially if you're not on Steel Path, but even like base Steel Path, you're gonna rack up kills pretty quickly. I have seen versions of this where they don't really build for that much duration, and I understand, like I get why, because you're just casting your 4 and then you're exploding it. You don't really care about the 2 or anything else. You're just blowing this thing up. I mean, I kind of like having extra duration, especially on the 2, just to help me live. Again, this is for when I'm in Steel Path. If you don't care about that and you don't care about the survivability too much, then these are 2 mods. These are just 2 free mod slots that you can do whatever the hell you want with. So that about covers this. I don't use this too often, but for just like farming or just like general like nuking, this is fine. And then for the little health tanking build that I have here, the Energy Siphon and then the Archon Stretch, spoiler alert, this is for melee influence. These will regen energy, and then that gets paired with, as some of you probably already saw, Nourish. So your energy economy, even though this is negative, is actually pretty good. I spam a lot of abilities with Gara, and I have not had any real issues with energy using this build at all. It's been honestly working out very well, and then the influence just works so well with this. It not only does it, it's really good, it does a lot of damage, it kills a lot of, enemies and whatnot, 200 KPM builds, woo. But, like, there is, like, it's used and it's good for a reason, and then it also works with Archon Stretch. There's not too much I can do with, like, the synergies of the build to, like, make everything work. One little caveat, though, that I'm sure some of you have already seen is Archon Reaper. So this is making a little bit of a return from the Korra video. So I really enjoyed using Archon Reaper on Gara when these changes came, because just having like the more armor with the adaptation, and then with her Mass Vitrify, with her Splinter Storm, all the DR, and then I think with the armor, I think she's up to like 72-ish, 73-ish maybe. like damage reduction on top of that, and that's almost an eclipse. So like that's a decent amount of DR. Do I think this could hit level cap? Maybe with the right person. I don't think I'm that right person, but this is this has worked phenomenally for me, and I enjoy it. So I go back and forth between this little health tanking build and then my Terrify build. So this I've been having probably an illegal amount of fun with this. So we subsumed on Terrify. I'm not running the augment because like with all of the range and whatnot, this is damn near 30 meters. So yeah, anything that I can see or anything that typically gets terrified, you swipe right and shit just dies. Because it has like no armor. Or this is at 90, so it's like very little armor. But this has worked very well. This is like a little bit of a hybrid of like tanking and like shield gating. This is something that I have like taken to like somewhat like higher levels. Not like level cap or anything. I'm not a level cap player, but I imagine this could probably go to level cap without a problem. Again, mostly due to like the shield gating and everything. But this has worked out very well for me personally. Some changes that you can make to this if you wanted to, like let's say like you think like me having health here is stupid. That's fine, that's fair. A little hurtful, but that's fine. So then you can just like move all these over, rearrange these. You're gonna lose a little bit of power strength, but it's fine because we've got both augmented there. And then you can just go and commit to the whole just shield gating route, having rolling guard there, clearing your statuses. Hey, you're good. You know, this is like a shield gate Gara. You know, this build will definitely get to level cap without a problem. So, like, if that's one of your concerns, then this should be fine. If you wanted to make, you know, let's say you didn't want to do all this, like, shield gating nonsense on top of the health tanking and you just wanted a health tank, well, guess what? You can just remove this and then put back, I need to put back the vitality here, and then boom, we've got this back here. So then this can be your build for that. And then if you're okay with also like having a 90% like or armor removal is fine, especially with like the most like recent changes and whatnot to armor. So if you wanted to like remove molt augmented and you wanted to put like Arcane Reaper here, if you have it, Arcane Reaper energize, I think that'd be fine. And then actually speaking about energize, I was debating using this for the build because like having a bunch of energy and then synergizing that with brief respite and whatnot, I think is really good. But I elected to add it to the build and showcase this because I feel like a good amount of people have done like that most recent event that we had with the old piece to go ahead and get an energize. So Gara is a great use case to use energize with because Mama's pretty energy hungry at times. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying just kind of armor stripping and scaring the shit out of the enemies and then just killing them with the Shattered Lash build that I'm going to showcase here in like a little bit of a hot second. Oh, about the energy, funny enough, I am on Death Cube. Death Cube makes a lot of the energy needs of Gara. I'm not going to say disappear, but they become extremely manageable with the energy generator and then the manifold bond resetting the companion abilities to then attack and then get more assists and do all that kind of stuff. So doing all of this does help, and then you've got the duplex bond here for when you're using, you know, a lot of energy because you're going to be casting a lot. There's going to be a lot of death cubes going around, and there's going to be a lot of them just attacking a lot of enemies. So all of this works to just generate you, and again with Sith Deconstruct here, generate you a lot of energy and a lot of health, and then we have the equilibrium shards in here to take full advantage of that. So this greatly helps with her energy sustain, having Death Cube here. And then I am running to go with that, I am running the Tazakor. I'm running the viral variant of this, so that viral can be spread whenever the Death Cube decides to attack enemies. The normal variant that I show off is cold, because this just sticks everyone in place and this helps with survivability. But with this, I want to spread viral, and with Gara, I don't really have that many survivability issues. So this will just work pretty damn well. This has worked very well for me for just spreading a bunch of different statuses and whatnot. And then also, if you wanted to use a different weapon, like the Verglass or the Full Lock or whatnot, since these weapons have like critical chance on them, if you wanted to use Death Cube here to just shoot things and then get crits, these also work for the... Whoops, went back too far. These also work with like the Fury, or actually, I think Fury's on this one. Nope, Fury's not on that one. Fury's on this one. Here we go. So this also works with like Fury, so Death Cube will also be proccing this. So Fury will, if you have like, depending on your weapon, Fury will basically always be up. So, and then I would highly encourage using Death Cube if you can, especially in like later in-game activities and whatnot. You know, if you can. And then I'm going to go over the weapons very briefly in a second, but I'm going to go over the Shattered Lash build here. This is for new players and then / like people that want to play like old school Gara. Because the more like base damage and elemental damage and whatnot that you have, the more damage you build up like with the 4 and then through her 2. So if you just want to like walk around like a human blender basically, this is the build that you basically kind of want to use. Just get like a bunch of like damage and elementals and things like that and just kind of go ham. Newer players, I wouldn't worry too much about arcanes or whatnot. This is just here to showcase what to put here for when you're like later on in the game. For older players that want to run this and just run as much damage as possible, just replace all of the base mods here with primes and you'll be just fine. I actually, funny enough, I use this with a different build. Like this exact same build, I use this with the Terrify build that I just showcased, and I was swiping right and I was doing like 800k, a million damage and whatnot. So I know this doesn't look like much, but you know, this will... Gara still hurts. Gara's still a damn good Warframe. Just keep that in mind. And then the other builds, for both the tank and then the nuke build that I had, these both just use melee influence here. Not breaking, I don't think, really any new ground here. Just standard, standard edition influence. Revolutionary stuff here going on. Not much to really talk about, honestly. I keep hitting wrong buttons to save my life. There we go. Now, this. I really have been enjoying afflictions on Gara. So, how afflictions work is that when enemies are affected by statuses, they gain 6 additional statuses when they're knocked down. Well, that sounds, kind of, like not practical. How do you get enemies knocked down? That sounds weird. Like, how are you going to do that? Well, you see, with Gara, when she slashes at you, she slashes the enemies and then they hit the ground and they go down, and then that does trigger afflictions when you slash them and then they go down. So then they have all of those. They have like the slash procs and then the gas that I have on this. And then they get an additional, like it stacks more. Like they gain six additional stacks when they're knocked down. So I pair this with the Terrify because, you know, when you're fully armor stripped and you have a gas on you, shit gets kind of wonky. So the idea with the Terrify build is to Terrify the armor off of them, and then you just kind of swipe right. So they're terrified, they have no armor, they have a slash proc, and they have a bunch of gas procs, and they're maidenless. They're not having a good week. Let's just say that. They are clearly not having a good week. This build does a very good amount of damage. Is it as high KPM or whatnot as Influence? No. But this is a lot of fun, and I like me some fun. So this is going to be what I like show off here, along with the Terrify build here. And then just real quick here with the... I don't think I've shown off my Cerberus before, so I'm just going to go over... hover over the evolutions just so we can move on from that. Oh, one quick thing though. You want recoil reduction. Good lord, this gun kicks like a mule. You want recoil reduction, for the love of God. And then for the Cerberus, I'm using Deadhead here. For whatever reason, I find it easy to just like hit heads with this thing, and I could not tell you why. If like this isn't quite your jam, you can use something like Crux. You can use, if you have like a Warframe that's got a lot of armor, you can of course use Bulwark. This has been really good from the most recent update. Not sure about Debilitate, but this could maybe work. Merciless is always a good option. Dexterity for primary, or for melee Warframes like, well actually like Gara. So if you wanted to run this, that'd be fine too. You can ignore the ribbon here. Like this can honestly be like removed, and then these would have to be like moved down, and you could just throw something like heat in this, and you could do like heat and viral or whatnot, or you could just add in like just a serration mod or whatnot. Like if you're doing like the Crux, then I would highly encourage you to just add serration like this, and you'll be and then this will work just fine. Well, actually this will work just fine like this, honestly. But yeah, again, not needed. Just it just makes funny numbers. That's it. Notable little inclusion here though. Prime Shred. If you don't have Prime Shred, just use regular Shred. But yeah, I just hitting through multiple enemies. I think as of late people have like kind of caught on to, oh, if weapons have punch through, we do more damage because more enemies die. I think more people have kind of caught on to that. But yeah, I like punch through on a lot of weapons. I've showcased the Okina build and the Lex build. The Okina is just the influence build, so just copy and paste what you see here from the Shattered Lash. But Lex I've showcased before, but just to quickly hover over this for people who are new, maybe they haven't seen me because I'm a flippin' nobody at the current moment in time. But I mean, you gotta start somewhere. Yes, I know another ribbon. Problem solved. If you don't have Encumber or need something else, I just run it because I like it. You could run Fortifier to get rid of Overguard. You could run Merciless as a default option. You could run Deadhead. Deadhead's actually very, very strong with the Lex, especially the Incarnon. And then you could run Flare 2 for that more damage as well. So you don't have to just run that. Put that back. For what it's worth, I probably won't be using these too much, because I'm going to be just using the Shattered Lash and killing things. Alright, and we are off to the races. Alright. See if we can't get an Acolyte to spawn or whatnot.
The art of combat must be practiced to truly master the canvas of war.
Alright, here we go.
They have just shut down all systems.
Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? There they go. Terrify, Flash. Yep, they are not happy. And then Terrify, swipe right, dead. And that's basically what we do. Terrify, swipe right, dead. Then I'm running low on my time, as you can see with my second ability. Cast the 2, it refreshes, swipe right, everything dies. And then because we have like decent range on this, and on the tank build too, honestly, then the 4 can just like do like mini nukes of damage and get rid of like certain things. So that is good as well. Recast this. Terrify them again. Oh, they're fully armor stripped. So yeah, now they're fully armor stripped. They're on the ground. They're gas procced. They're getting dealt millions of damage. They are not having a good week. And over here, can see my death cubes just doing damage, causing a lot of energy orbs. Again, energy is not really a problem, like for having the death cubes around. So the little setup I have here for the death cubes has been working phenomenally. And you can, I was back here and I killed them. Like, people who want max range, believe me, I get it, but like, I think like this range is pretty good. That's a hunt. Oh, never mind. That was K. I thought that said million. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Boy, but this is the build. Yeah, this is Gara. Still blows my mind that way back in the day people thought she sucked. I called everyone an idiot. I legit was like, y'all are crazy. Like, how is she not, like, especially back when she came out, like, how is she not just like the craziest Warframe? Boy. And then like I built up some damage on my 2 so I can just walk up to certain enemies and just kind of like kill them. Especially if I armor strip and then I walk up and like, yep, I'm just a walking blender at the moment. Gone. And then Terrify goes through walls too. I forgot to mention that in the actual like build, but yeah, Terrify can go through walls. And I think so does her 1. Yep. Sorry, I just had to not only test once but test again. You know, could have been a fluke or something. And then you can see like I'm heat procced. I don't really care. Again, like the health and the shields and whatnot, like they all kind of help with like other like statuses and whatnot. I just like having health as like a safety net or whatnot.
Additional life support has arrived.
But this is... Where the heck are the enemies? Am I killing them all a little too fast? Man, I'm in Steel Path. Yeah, I'm in Steel Path. Man, they just can't live. Boy. Another little story time thing here. I want to say this was like a little bit later because I think I remember having like adaptation on Gara when adaptation came out. But some buddies of mine, we were in the Kuba Fortress, Trino, just trying to get some Kuba in a survival. I don't know what happened. We blinked and like my friends are down. Like I'm the last man standing, so I have to. What is hitting me? So then I have to go and like revive them and whatnot. And it is, yeah, violence didn't last long. And it, oh, he turned off my 2, you little. And like they're just not having a good time. So then I have to stand here, you know, take damage and then revive them or whatnot. And I'm the only one that's alive, and they were questioning, like, you're Gara, she sucks, how are you alive? I'm like, she doesn't suck, she's good, I'm alive, you're on the ground, what do you mean? Then I'd explain to my buddies how Gara worked. This would have been like, you know, like way back when. But it's like little things like that that just, like, I look back at them and laugh. Because, like, I'm caught on my buddies a little bit, but, like, it just wasn't them. It was damn near everyone. Like, it was damn near everyone, and I still look at that and just go, man, y'all got it wrong. So, Yeah, if you really like a Warframe, but everyone says, you know, like they're not good or bad or whatnot, just stick with what you like. Eventually, they'll either come around or the Warframe will get changed, and then people will come around after that. Just enjoy what you enjoy. There's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And that's time. So I'm gonna get out of here. All right. Well, as this wraps up, if you stayed to the end, I appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the story time. And yeah, give Gara a shot. I really like her. I've always liked her pretty much. So thanks for sticking around. Catch you later. Bye.